Praise the Lord, everybody. Come on, praise the Lord, everybody. Come on, let's give Jesus praise one more time. Come on, come on. She said, wake up. Let's wake them up. Wake them up in your spirit right now. Wake them up with the praise. Come on. Come on, let's give Jesus praise. Stir them up. 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 Wake them up. Wake them up in your spirit. Hallelujah. 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 It's good to be in the house of the Lord one more time. And I'm not going to be before you long. And those that know me, when I say I'm not going to be long, I'm not going to be long. But I can't say what Jesus is going to do. I just want to, protocol is already getting established, but I also want to give honor and praise to my pastor, Bishop Alfonso D. Brooks, and thank you for allowing me to come and minister to you all today. So I'm going to get right into it. Y'all know me. My topic is pray up. Pray up. All right, two scriptures I want to make reference to. One is 1 Thessalonians 5:17. The King James Version states, pray without ceasing. Then we have Ephesians chapter 6, verse 18. Praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. Now in 1 Thessalonians, this passage of scripture is one of many directives given to Christians regarding the behavior that is required of you. And see, I like it in the Amplified Version. Amplified Version of this passage states, be unceasing, without stopping, being persistent, firmly, tenacious in prayer. Now, if we go in Ephesians, that prayer is noted as something that Christians should put on. See, this is something you're supposed to wear as a part of the armor of God. See, when we go through the armor of God, this is the last thing they mention, and a lot of people skip that. But although it's the last thing that's mentioned, for me, for my spirit, that's the foundation. That's the first thing you need to be putting on. But I like the Amplified Version of it. It says, and particularly that first part, it says, with all prayer and petition, pray at all times in the Spirit. Now, when we look at both passages of Scripture, the common theme or common denominator is what? You should pray continuously. So I want to shift gears here. Let's look at the word prayer. Pray. What does it mean? There are many meanings. However, in the Greek, I like this. To pray means communication exclusively with God to the advancement of the people of God with regard to the will of God. So two phrases stands out right there. Communication exclusively with God regarding the will of God. Now, one author, James Gold, states that we should keep a silent dialogue in the Spirit during the course of their daily walk. So if you look at that phrase, the silent dialogue, that goes back to what we just said, exclusive communication of your daily walk, which goes back to saying a continuous process. So not only should prayer be a continuous process, but exclusive, private communication with God about His will. Now I want to look at the word up, because they gave me pray up. Now when you hear the word up, you usually think about a pattern of direction. And this direction is usually a forward motion, horizontally or even vertically. But I want you to take and look at the word up as going beyond regarding the level of intensity and depth of something. So regardless of whether you're talking about going up physically or tangible, the direction notes going beyond. So I want you to create, put together just for this moment, instead of saying up, say pray beyond. Because see, we're coming in a day where we have to go beyond what we normally would do. Our prayer beyond should be the norm. But in this day and time, people find it odd when you're walking around praying without ceasing. They find it odd when you're having a daily conversation, a daily dialogue with God pertaining to each and everything in your life. But as Christians, that should be our norm. Our norm should always be beyond. Our norm should always always be to seek the face of God regarding every aspect of your life. Our position as Christians should always be beyond, because when we go beyond, now we're tapping into what we call the supernatural. See, this is not our home here on earth. We're just merely citizens abiding. But see, God needs open and willing vessels in which he can use to move his kingdom here on earth. So in order to do that, we got to be open, willing vessels. We got to have a continuous communication with God so that we can go beyond what the norm is expected of people here on earth. But the beyond for us is our norm. So the question is, do you pray up? Is your prayers going beyond what you normally do? How intense or how in depth are your prayers? Pray up, pray beyond. See, like I said, prayer beyond should not be a new factor for us, but the norm. See, we do what the scripture says. Pray without ceasing, pray in the spirit, pray beyond, pray the supernatural to come into existence, and then we can be the vessels that God has called us to do. Our goal should be to consistently seeking to go up and beyond that which we don't see, but we're going by faith and know that this thing is happening and already has happened. See, that should be your lifestyle. No matter what, your life shall be a lifestyle of prayer, worship, and praise. That is your norm. That is your beyond. That when you get to the point that because you prayed, because you fasted, because you're looking beyond and you've allowed God to use you, now you're operating in the supernatural. And there is no question at all that whatever you pray, when you pray beyond, God will hear, God will do it. See, in so doing, when you pray up, you will be prayed up for anything that comes your way. See, when you pray beyond, your prayers will lead to supernatural outcomes. When you pray beyond, you are automatically prayed up to deal with anything that comes your way. See, I'm going to give you a few examples of what happens to individuals who pray beyond, and because they prayed beyond, they were prayed up for when the situation came up. So when you are prayed up and pray beyond, you are prayed up to confront the enemy and prevail. When you pray up and pray beyond, you are prayed up to command healing and miracles to take place. See, when you are prayed up, pray beyond, you are prayed up to speak to the situation at hand. When you are prayed up, you pray beyond, you can change the atmosphere. When you are prayed up and pray beyond, you can command things to happen. When you are prayed up and pray beyond, God can give you strategies for the enemy. When you are prayed up and pray beyond, he will give you secrets to be revealed to you. Now, let me give you some scripture to back that up. So like I said, when you pray beyond, you're prayed up to confront the enemy. Because Acts chapter 16 tells me that Paul and Silas was on their way to prayer. A young girl possessed with the spirit of divination met them, following, cried out, "These are servants of the Most High." That girl got on Paul's nerve, vexed him so bad that he commanded the spirit to come out. Why was he able to do that? Because he had already prayed beyond, so he was prayed up and he was able to recognize the enemy. The other thing, when you're prayed up, pray beyond, you're prayed up to command healing and miracles to take place. 2 Kings chapter 4 tells me that Elijah raised the Shunammite woman's son from the dead. He said that he walked to and fro when he got to the room. He went upstairs and he stretched himself on the child. He sneezed 7 times and the child opened his eyes. Why was that happening? Because he prayed beyond and he was prayed up to perform the miracle. And then I said to speak to the situation. Proverbs 18:21 states, "Death and life is in the power of the tongue." So you can speak to the situation. You can speak it to rise up, or you can speak it to dampen it. But remember, this tongue is powerful. Then I talked about you can speak. I missed this one, to change your atmosphere. See, 1 Kings 17, Elijah said unto Ahab, "There will be no dew or rain for these years, but according to my word." And see, my family know I'm crazy enough. I will get outside. I will speak to the atmosphere. I will speak to the rain. I will speak to the snow. I will speak to the people on my block. And I will command Satan and all his demons to move on out the way. I have seen it happen. I'm a living witness. When I speak it, it has come to pass. And see, when you prayed up, like I said before, secrets will be revealed to you. And it tells me in the 2nd chapter of the book of Daniel, the king had a dream and he forgot it. So he called the musicians, the astrologers, the sorcerers, and said, tell me the dream. But they were not able to do so. Daniel went home. He told Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah the king's request. Guess what they did? They got together and prayed. And in a dream that night, Daniel got the vision and he was able to go back. Why? Because he had prayed beyond. And because he prayed beyond, he was prayed up. That when he went to God, God gave him the secret. He gave him the vision. See, when you're prayed up, remember what I said. You can receive strategies and plans to defeat the enemy. It tells me in Joshua chapter 6, the Lord gave Joshua instructions to conquer the city of Jericho. He told them walk around 6 days, one time each. He set things in order. On that 7th day, he said walk around 7 times. And when Joshua say shout out, you shout. And when he shout, the walls came coming down. Why were they able to do that? Because they did what? They prayed beyond. And because they prayed beyond, they were prayed up. See, in these examples that I showed you, because they had a life which consistently dealt with prayer, which consistently dealt with their communication with God, which consistently dealt with the fact that every single day, every moment, every issue, every situation that came up, they sought God, that when things didn't happen, God responded to them accordingly. See, when you pray up, you're praying for supernatural things to occur. Pray up, pray beyond, and watch the manifestation of the supernatural to take place. See, when you pray up and you pray beyond, there's no reason why when you walk into a room, demons can flee. There's no reason why when you prayed up and you pray beyond, that when you speak the word, you can command things to happen on the spot. There's no reason why when you're prayed up and prayed beyond, that the Lord will answer your prayers the first go round. There's no reason that if you pray beyond, you prayed up, he'll reveal the secrets of the enemy to you. There's no reason why you pray beyond, you prayed up, that whatever you need, he will give it according to his riches and glory. See, the thing we need to do as Christians, we have to be prayed up, pray beyond what you normally would do. Your prayer should be so intense. Your prayer should be so in depth that everywhere you go, you hear the voice of God telling you, no, my child, don't go right, go left. No, my child, don't speak to this one, but speak to that one. No, my child, don't take that job. That's not where I want you to be. Pray beyond that what is doing. Pray beyond till you get into the supernatural, that you can see things in the spirit realm happen. Pray beyond that God will give you the word of knowledge. Pray beyond that God will give you the wisdom that's needed. Pray beyond that God will give you the prophetic word that you're running around for. Pray beyond that God will give you the faith to know that the healing and the miracle has already taken place. Saints of God tonight, all I want to tell you is pray beyond and watch the manifestation of the supernatural.